ProMedica Toledo Hospital is celebrating a big anniversary this year, and the hospital wants you to be a part of it. This afternoon, we have Liz Michalak, Vice President of Operations at ProMedica Toledo Hospital and Ebeid Children's Hospital with us. Welcome. It's good to meet you and talk to you. 1874 was the first year, and here we are 150 years later celebrating. Let's talk first of all about the origins of Toledo Hospital.
Yeah.
Was it in the same vicinity where it is now, or no, somewhere else in town?
Yeah, so Toledo Hospital was founded in 1874 in a small home on Union Street in downtown Toledo, which is currently North 12th Street. Small little residential facility. When we moved in and started operating in the hospital, there was no running water, no electricity for about 11 years. So if you can imagine that. About 15 years later, we moved down the street to the corner of Cherry and Bancroft to another residential facility, actually the home of Valentine Ketchum. So if you have any Toledo history buffs listening today, they will recognize that name. And we operated out of that residential home again for a couple of years.
What was the history of hospitals in the USA? I know they had hospitals, field hospitals, the Civil War, but like when it became the community started getting a hospital to serve people?
Yeah, around that time, right? I mean, it started to bubble up. Same thing in this community as well.
And medicine just got bigger and bigger and better and better.
It started to evolve and evolve, and it started in homes like this. Really very common. So we were there until about 1893-ish when we built our first actual hospital facility, and that was on the corner of Cherry and Sherman, just again down the road. Continued to grow, continued to evolve, and we found our way to the outskirts of town at the time, to North Cove Boulevard, where we find ourselves today. And so there's absolutely no doubt that we have continued to grow and evolve as an organization on that campus. We talked about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, now the building is kind of a maze because there's been so many add-ons to it that, like, the old part, the newer old part, it's just a remarkable campus, and you've got to really know where you're going, or use GPS to go from point A to point B.
Yeah, we try our best to get people around as swiftly as possible. But most recently, in 2008, we added the Renaissance Tower to that, which houses the Russell J. Ebeid Children's Hospital now. And then in 2019, we opened the Generations of Care Tower, which is the newest addition. So we have grown and grown and grown over the years. When we first started in downtown Toledo, we saw maybe 100 inpatients a year at max. We see about 25,000 inpatients a year now on that campus alone. And well over 1 million patients visit the campus. So. And
the OBGYN area, all three of my kids were born there, and I know that they have wonderful nurseries. They take great care of kids.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful care providers. We talk a lot about how we've grown and how we've changed over the years, but what I will say is that those are the consistents for Toledo Hospital. It is really our people and our commitment to this community, right?
So we want to celebrate 150 years. What can people do to be a part of that and see what's going on?
Yeah, so we're really asking people to help share their story about Toledo Hospital with us. So I think you guys, you're going to put the link up here. We're encouraging people to go to that link and share a story with us. If you were a patient, if you had a loved one that was a patient at one time, if you're a former employee with us, we want to hear about your stories with Toledo Hospital so we can remember those going forward for another 150 years. Additionally, if you do find yourself at the hospital in the next couple of months, we have a small little site set up between the two main entrances of the hospital with some of our historic artifacts and relics. So we invite anyone to take a stop there, read the timelines, look at some of these things. Some of the items are from 1874 that we still have and we've put on display.
In some ways, the history of Toledo is the history of Toledo Hospital. I mean, really going back all those years.
Yeah, and we couldn't be prouder to be here, and we're excited for 150 more.
Liz, thanks for coming in today and talking about this. 150 years, and the celebration goes on all this summer into the fall. Thank you.
Thanks.
Weather's coming up next. Here's Kayla.